presentations, and I guess I've got just cut it down to 15 minutes instead of a bit longer. So, first thing that I want to emphasise is that, or one of the things to emphasise, is that we spend a lot of time, and you've heard me, a lot of you heard me say this before, we spend a lot of time trying to rectify effects. And we talk about membership. We've got a membership problem. We need to go out and recruit. We need more members. From my way of thinking, yeah, why do we need new members? Why do we need more members? And I then go back to what is the cause of the membership situation and try to deal with that. And that's what this whole program is all about, is dealing with the cause of our membership situation. So the successful branch is what will draw members, and we have several examples of successful branches at the moment, and I've been privileged now to spend an hour or two in the next room with the Western Australian people and learning how they go about things and just getting a feeling of the atmosphere and the enthusiasm that exists over there. And I hope it's contagious. So we'll just go very briefly through this. I don't want to go into detail with the membership and recruitment or recruitment and retention, but that's a separate session. The successful branch has a vision and mission and are clearly enunciated. Now, I presented this in Canberra, but I think we're all a bit drained at the end of the day. But I'll be sending these slides out, and I think they're all in the back of the manual anyway. But we need to build successful branches. And this is not about what you do, this whole program is about how you do. So we're not on about the what. And last time we had a whole lot of suggestions coming in, and I said, hang on, we've got our branch plan in hand. And some of you might remember that. This is the branch plan. This is what we've all sat down and decided what to do. So we have a vision and a mission for the successful branch, and the vision would be a reflection of the state vision, which is drawn from the national vision. Meetings are well planned, interesting and purposeful, because we have plenty going on. So we've got this, in theory, we've got this successful branch, and it's all here on the plan. Members are involved, busy and enthusiastic. New members are being approached and recruited to carry out the requirements of the plan. So at the end of the day, we have a whole list of things we want to do according to the list that we've formed mutually with the help of all the branch members and maybe the district members, and we've come up with all these things, and also with the state plan, drawing from the state plan, because the branches is where all the action is going to take place. It's like recruiting. Recruiting is not happening at state council level or at national level. It's here at the branches. To make this organisation stronger, we need to build strong branches. And we have a few examples of strong branches already, but the majority of branches really are struggling for direction and motivation and leadership. So we need to build all that into our branches, and people who come into branches, they're not aware of how organisations are run. What they want to do is they want to be told what to do, where to go, what to bring and what time. And that's the majority of our members. And we go out and we recruit and we say, oh yeah, come and join us. And then after a while they say, well, why? What do you do? And we then have we do a bit of this or a bit of that, or we started Southern Cross Care years ago. And you know, there's things we've done, but we haven't got a list of things at plan, and we haven't got it broken into committees or portfolios where the action's going to take place in the branch. So this portfolio holder, he might be looking at developing that area, and we haven't got someone there. So we have to go out and recruit the guy with the skills to do that job. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because a lot of our guys from the past are doing what we always did, and that's getting us the result that we've always had, which is declining membership and lack of motivation and branch meetings getting less and less popular, and people dying off, leaving the order for one reason or another. So we need to generate enthusiasm and desire, interest and desire. So recruiting is happening naturally, so we've got all this stuff going, and people in the parishes are going to start saying, gee, the Knights of Southern Cross. And they've heard of us, they know us because of what we're doing. Currently, that's only happening in one or two places where, gee, who are these Knights? I want to be part of that. So it's very important that we make sure that we've got a decent plan going and actions happening. Change, challenge and opportunities are stimulating the order. The branch plan runs the branch. Same with the state. The state plan runs the state. It's not reliant on a particular personality or style or anything. You just follow the plan. And then when the state, that branch chairman goes, then everything just keeps going and no one notices much change. You get a new chairman in and it's a seamless succession. And the vision and mission are being realised. And at this point I'll just give an example of how the plan runs the branch. And I'll give, it can be the state, it can be, in the case I'm going to give you, is a parish. And the first example is Tasmania. Now, I've spoken to a couple of you about Tasmania, and we all know and love John Pritchard, and he was a very, very highly regarded, action-packed individual, and he added so much value to the discussion at our national meetings. He was fantastic. But when I started presenting and talking about this stuff, he said, oh no, I'm not interested in all that, John. He said a senior officer of mine a couple of years ago, or several years ago, he said, don't worry about trying to do things right. Just worry about doing the right thing. And I thought, oh, okay, so you're saying this doesn't apply. He said, no, he said, I don't believe in all that. So I thought, okay, so Tasmania has no plan and no chance of a plan. John Pritchard then leaves fairly suddenly, and there's nothing there, absolutely nothing there. So what happens? The last man standing is involved in 27 other parish activities. Would that be right, George? You've been speaking to him. It's about 25 or 27. Yeah. Where's the Knights in his list of priorities if he's that busy? And where's their plan? There's no plan. So they're in trouble. So we need to work with them to try and see if somehow we can get some sort of a plan going to resurrect. And that's really a job we have in hand, have to develop. The contrast to that, or converse, is Box Hill, Father Tony. And most of you know Father Tony. He was in Sydney 5 years ago, 4 years ago, so Father Tony has the greater parish of Box Hill, which is Box Hill and Box Hill North, two parishes merged into one. He has new priests coming out of the seminary that he has for 6 or 7 months as he gives them a taste of parish life. And he's also the Episcopal vicar of the eastern side of Melbourne. So I guess he must have been asked to be a bishop at some stage, but I guess he must have knocked it back or something. But he's doing a job where there are regional bishops, but he's got this whole responsibility, and at the same time running this huge parish, and at the same time he's a canon lawyer, and he's renowned worldwide as well as Australia. And here he is playing golf with me last year, 12 months ago today at Horsham. That's where he is now. So I said to him, Tony, how do you do all this? How do you fit it all in? We've got so much.
Hello, we're ready for you, Monsieur. Okay.
All right, I'll just finish here because I think we can probably break here. So Tony said to me, it's simple. He said, the parish has a parish plan, and he said the plan runs the parish. He said they don't have to have me there. So he's developed this plan, and the plan does it all. And that's the contrast between when Tony gets nominated by the bishop next week to move to another parish, and oh, Box Hill will fall apart. No, he's got a very sound plan, and he said everyone knows what to do and there's no problem. And he said, I'm there to oversee the plan and the running of the place. And that is a model that we need to adopt. Thank you for listening, and thank you for the abbreviated opportunity, and we'll be back soon. Pretty hopeless at acting quickly on this. We got to the end of the successful branch, and the fact that the plan runs the branch, the plan runs the state, the plan runs the organisation, and
Yesterday's, isn't it?
the chairman monitors and resets the plan as he goes. We have a problem with membership because membership is the number one priority for everyone, and there's no way that we're going to get membership sorted out if it's put at number one when we've got no plan. So if we go ahead with no plan, we don't need any members. This is to do more with the management and the old-fashioned way of having the chairman in the middle and everything focuses on the chairman and he gives all the orders and tells you what to do. And we need to be moving to that. The role of national, the servant leadership, a servant leader focuses primarily on the growth and well-being of people and the communities to which they belong. While traditional leadership generally involves the accumulation and exercise of power by one at the top of the pyramid, servant leadership is different. Servant leaders shares the power, puts the needs of others first, and helps people develop and perform as highly as possible. Okay, so that's straight out of the 2015 to 2020 plan that we all agreed to in Brisbane in 2014. So that is what we seek to have in our organisation. So to add value through leadership, share learnings and successes, failures. This is the role of national. It's more a coordinating role rather than a power role. It's to bring people together, bring the states together and coordinate their actions and plans and activities. Provide a national voice, share resources, determine a national direction. That's by having a vision and setting the national vision, and then having the states draw from that national vision what their state vision is. The national, and I remember George saying the same thing about 5 years ago, national really can't set a plan. It's up to the national to set a direction, which is the vision. And then from there, the states draw their plans. So it's very hard to have national, and I think we've shown this in a way, to have national dictate what the plan is. And if we have the states individually setting their plans according to where the vision is, the national vision, they can then adapt that to what the state requirement is and set that, and then report on the progress towards achieving what they're setting out to achieve in their plan. Does that make sense? Okay, so I've recently embarked on the readership of a book called The Power Principle. And a guy gave me this book, or lent me this book 15 years ago, and I thought I'd better give it back to him. And I thought I'd better read it first. And in the last month or two, I've been reading it. And there are three forms of power. And I'd never ever thought about it. This guy's an associate of Covey, and a lot of you have read Covey. So the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And that explains a lot of things. It doesn't change your life, it doesn't tell you what to do, but it explains behaviours and why things happen in our relationships. And the power principle explains power. The first form of power is coercive power, which is based on fear. You do this or this happens. The second is on utility power, which is based on fairness. So you've got something I want, I've got something you want. We do an agreement, a trade, and we're all happy and we get on with our life. And the third one is principle-centred power, and that's based on honour, respect, trust, reverence, and all that sort of thing. And that's really what servant leadership is all about. So it's setting up a situation where we all have a great element of trust in each other and supporting each other. And that's really where we need to be. I keep putting this one up. Motivation and enthusiasm. I just saw a lot of enthusiasm over in the other room. It's unbelievable, it's powerful. And there's all these guys over there doing the workshop that they're doing. It's very well organised, it's running very well, and the outcomes I think are fantastic. And it's a pity we can't all be over there, we had to deal with a few other things. So motivation is very important. Planning is very motivational. If you get involved in a planning session, you start getting motivated because you're gaining more knowledge of what you're going to be doing, and that's very important. Therefore, generating motivation, enthusiasm and seamless succession. Once again, seamless succession. It's very important. Membership, recruitment and retention. I went through that in Canberra, and I'm really not here to do that because we don't have time. So I'm not going to go half through it and have a half understanding of it. It's got to be done at a proper planned session where we're not too concerned, or we are managing the time, but we have more time to manage. So some of the motivating factors that we need to recruiting are listed there. They're the things that people would appeal to people's emotional desires and things that we have to do, responsibilities. It's not what we do, so it's how we get people interested. Not telling, we tell them what we do to create this, to show them how they can be fulfilled in their role as more active Christian Catholics and practising more what we are required to do, from the plenary council to all sorts of other areas of responsibility. We are the church, it's not the bricks and mortar. Retaining members, we've got to keep the interest and desire there. The list, reporting, ultimate outcomes, we must have a plan, and that's the end result, and that's where we are at the moment, and that's what we need to change. Have we missed anything? This area has been the elephant in the room for so long, and now I'm determined, and I hope that I can encourage, enthuse people to realise that we need to start addressing this seriously, and something like we had in November 11, 2011, when we had the Friday devoted to a session run by Rod McAtee in Canberra, and that was my first meeting there. And I can't exactly remember the details, but I can remember it was a pretty good day. We got a lot out of it. We've got to do something like that again, otherwise we keep riding this elephant and it's collapsing. Paul, how long have we got? What's the
30 minutes.
So we need to finish by 10 to 4 because we need to close.
Where are we now?
So we're now at 3:30.
20 minutes.
20 minutes.
All right, well, I'd like to hand over to Paul to show how this planning, the state plan, it comes down to branch planning, and how we bundle all this into a product that we can actually get out and sell. Because we have a guy here who's absolutely overloaded with enthusiasm and passion, leading the Western Australian state and doing a fine job. And we had Carmen in Victoria. These guys, they come with all this enthusiasm and energy and passion, and everyone gets going, you know. But when they go, down we go. So we've got to have all that bundled into a plan to keep the whole show going when they go or when they step back. Thank you.
so we'll be quick. I'll skip past the. We started. We're on this journey of trying to change what we do. So we had in Victoria some reminders about what we need to avoid, and we made sure that we integrated all these factors into our consideration. We needed to be coherent, leading change, linking strategic and operational things, environmental assessment, that's the world we live in, and the resources we had at our hand, available. And we had a plan to do all that, and we carried out a survey of our environment. We had 583 responses from our members, and we considered what their results were. We divided them into promotion, culture, values and management, and there were so many ideas coming forward that we subdivided them into subcategories as well. And then we looked for how we would manage it all. And then we created a plan on how we would manage it. The first step was the environment in which Knights of the Southern Cross would have a role over the next 5 or 10 years. We went back to what's happening in the world over the next 20 years. We looked at our Australian secular world, we looked at our own state, we looked at the national vision. We took on a fair chunk of the 5th Plenary Council, which was just in its early meetings in this point in time. And we looked at what the national order were doing. And then we looked at the resources, which John has talked about. It took over 12 months to put all that information together and involve State Council in what a vision might be, what mission that provided in order to put that into effect. And we had all these focus areas which came out of our survey in the first place, and they led us to the headings like church and clergy, communication. The membership wanted faith and fraternity to be to the fore. State Council wanted better governance, and so did the states wanted feedback. We were looking for membership at the end of the day. We needed order development in a more formal sense, and we needed planning and social justice and ecology, which is a name that our Archdiocese gives for just the activity of social justice. This was just one example of one of those 8 areas. It happened to be membership that I plucked out. It had strategic goals, it had outcomes, and it had strategies on how to achieve them. And we put them all together in a plan which focused on fraternity. Sorry about that.
It actually looks like it focused on alcohol.
Yeah, that too. That too.
It was fraternal alcohol.
Oh, fraternal alcohol.
That's right.
Okay, that's good.
There was a marriage feast at Cambridge.
Oh, there was a bottle of Coke on the table
Oh,
too.
was it? Oh, good. So you balancing. Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
So, but to implement all these nice ideas in the strategic plan that everybody was happy with, we needed to make sure that those 8 different areas of interest were actually well run. So State Council created 8 subcommittees of State Council to run each one of them, and it was the job of State Council to make sure that those 8 committees were not silos. They all had to coordinate, and that could only happen if they all knew what the other were doing. So each had an operational plan. They all had the same vision. They all had some strategic goals, and then we broke it down into its various parts. But the important thing was that it was a plan that could be reported against. And that filtered down to enable or advise how the branches could follow this example that their state council had put forward. And that's where the Water Development Committee is now charged with the training of branches to establish this system. So there's a reporting code for branch administration, fraternity, formation, physical activity, planning and activities, and order growth. So all of those 5 things are anticipated and expected to occur within every branch. So what happens? John's plan comes down from the State Council through the district to a branch, and they end up with something like this, which shows a training the branches to plan. And the branches are quite capable of filling in what they want to do on the left, what they want to achieve, what actions they're taking, who's doing it, and by when. And there's a report. So with that, the green just indicates there that the example I chose is 3 of them I've already done. So in a nutshell, that's how in Victoria we filtered down from spending 12 months creating a new vision with a mission and a strategic plan, and ended up with training for branches on how to undertake it. Back to you, John.
What we need that.
We're nearly there, don't go away.
Oh, sorry, John.
Did I already ask you, yeah?
No, Chair.
Make sure that you and I get something, maybe pack them up. Maybe have to look at it. You'll need help, mate.
Well, that's, yeah.
Specific measurable, achievable, to. Smart.
Doesn't really come out very well, does it?
You're right. Double smart.
That's all right.
I'm not going to mess around with that. I'm incompetent as far as this sort of stuff goes. That's not what I wanted. I wanted it right out. I could do this at home all day, but when I come here and try and do it,
Yeah.
it's,
I've only seen two.
Yeah, which page do you want, John?
That's better.
yeah, that'll do. Thank you. Okay, that's different from what I had. That's not the worksheet I had up. Anyway, it doesn't matter. What I'm trying to illustrate here is how the state plan breaks down into the branch plan, and you saw the support for clergy, communications, and several other key performance areas of the state plan. Now they break down into the branch plan, and they become active portfolios and have portfolio holders appointed who can look after support for clergy liaison in other words, and dealings with clergy and support. So that then moves across to an action plan, and it happens. Communications and the same thing. I think Andrew, you're involved in that.
Yes.
And I keep coming back to Greg BH to the last 7 or 8 years that I've known him. He's always on about this political stuff, and I keep thinking, well, nothing's happening. And when he saw this in Canberra, he said, "Oh no, we're not interested in all that. The bishops have told us that we've got to get involved in political stuff." And so he was sort of saying, "Forget all this other stuff." And I said to him, "The political area that you're talking about is part of the plan. It's part of your state plan or branch plan. It's one portfolio. It's not the whole purpose. And now I'm happy to see John's report, where January planning session, you've addressed it. So that's the only way it's going to happen. If you take the guy and say, all right, that's your baby, go with it. Develop a committee or whatever to help you, go and recruit people who are in the know politically, and go and, you know, activate that area. So that's how action things happen. So it's scared to push this button now.
No, it won't work with that.
So that, anyway, I don't need to go through the whole shebang, but we've got the state plan there, and the bottom line is that that's all packaged into actions, and it's similar to what Paul showed you with the state plan and the state councillors and their responsibilities. So instead of just having that all up there and nothing happening, or something happening, people getting frustrated, now you hook it all together and relate it. Okay, the spiritual development and defence area, that's a state portfolio, and it's also a branch portfolio. And those two areas, they should connect and work together to grow that and experience that. And as I said, as I showed before with the diagram of the circles with the branches around, the branches can be individual portfolios, they can be states at a national level, but with the chairman in the middle, it's not going to happen. So you've got to get the chairman out of the bloody way and get the branches empowered to act and develop. And I'm a member of a branch where the chairman, he's a trier and he's new to the order, a couple of years, and he does all the talking. So we sit there and he doesn't follow a proper agenda, and so he said to me one day, what do you do, what's your response when you're trying to get someone to join the order? What do you tell them? I said, I don't. He said, what do you mean you don't? I said, I don't go recruit. He said, why not? I said, why would I? There's nothing to do. We come to meetings, we don't get anywhere. None of our portfolio holders have, there's 5 or 6 come to a meeting and we sit around. So developing this in the branches has been a fairly difficult change for them. And now that we've got this, and I can put that up and say, that's what we do. That is what we do. Where before, I don't know what we do. Who knows what we do? It's always a query. So now, that's what we do, and now we can go and sell it. As I say, identify the person you want to do that particular area, and he might have special skills. So you go into the parish and do a bit of research on who does what, and this is all very easy until you come to do it. Be assured, I've been trying to do it, and but it takes over from having the odd people who are absolutely gifted, like Kevin Clark and Carmen, and these people who can, they've got so much energy and passion, and having a plan, people like me can now go and say, okay, I need to get this guy to do that job, and then he can go and recruit who he wants to do it. So there's a multiplier effect. I think we're all ready to go to bed. Any questions? Or that's really it. That's the package. You just get the state councillors and the branches hooked in, so they're working together, and then developing something we can go and sell. And membership then takes a whole new focus, a whole new direction, a whole new cause, reason, rather than just going out and keep doing that, but rather than just going tapping people on the shoulder and say, oh, come and join us. And I just heard someone in the other room say, why he was having trouble.
I don't know, John, whether you've mischaracterised GBH on politics. That's certainly not our view. About 6 years ago, I published my article on Catholics and politics and cited the Vatican. It was published in Nightscope. I subsequently gave the text to Queensland. They published it. I've got a hard copy which I distributed all through National Association of Deacons in October, and I've now talk to the senator. I'm going to send my 3 things to him. He said, sure. I have the emails and everything. It's all, politics is our number one thing. If we don't get involved in politics, others with peculiar motives will do it for us.
Sorry, Frank, you're coming into what we're doing.
Yeah?
I'm about how we do it.
Oh, sorry, you brought up GBH in politics.
Oh, it's just an example.
Yeah, well,
It's
you
an
was
example.
wrong, sorry.
It's an example. Sorry, all right, I apologise if I...
No, you may have got it wrong from him.
All right, forget the GBH. Look at the area.
He just tries to emphasise that we should be politically active, but no, we have a political mission. That's what Greg's about.
Right. Okay.
So if I can cut in, Frank, so I'm sorry through the chair. So which politics would you follow? Liberal?
No.
Green?
It comes from the Greek word
Politics is a
polis.
So, excuse me, just let me speak. Thank you. So you're pushing that we should go for politics.
Not party
So-
politics.
Oh, I see. So what sort of politics are you talking about?
No, being involved,
Anything that affects people.
I'm assuming it's being involved in the political process, whether it be
Oh,
by
right,
writing
I see.
letters, by
Sorry.
defending the Catholic way of life in the public sphere. Because if we don't do it,
Others will.
others
Yeah.
Maybe policies, not politics.
Yeah, but the
Oh,
guy,
yeah.
No, that's
senator,
politics.
the senator mentioned a few things that were important.
Yeah.
Writing letters, having your voice heard about what you believe in.
Decades ago, ranchers used to write letters.
Yeah.
Now the senator was saying he gets all these emails, great, but if he gets a letter, he really reads that.
So the point still is, who do you write a letter to?
Anybody who has influence, anyone who needs to be
and what
converted.
opinion do you have?
What opinion do I have?
No, I'm just saying. So all I'm saying is, you're saying it's not about political stuff, but if you're writing to politicians, you are expressing a political opinion straight away. Do you write it to every political party?
yes,
To the Labor, Liberal, Democrats, Greens, Communists?
yes.
Do you?
We've been through that
Can
argument.
No, I'm just saying.
Can I come in there, please?
Oh,
We-
yeah, I'm trying to stir the situation that it's a dangerous territory to enter and going into politics.
Can I come back to what I said? Policies, not politics. We have to end it there. Sorry, we're not here to discuss the what. It's the how we organise. If I've used a bad example, it's how we organise, not what we do. And you can delete from the minutes GBH. I have a high regard for the guy, and I just thought I'd use him out of respect more than anything else. That's really, I think, where we wanted to end. And as I said before, I'm really keen to get this going further, and nationally, this is in the training manual that we have, the Order Development Manual, and what this takes us through, if we had the time to go through it properly, it takes us through the development program. Now, I speak to a lot of people around the place, and they either haven't heard of this manual or they've never seen it. Well, it needs to be in all the branches, I believe, so that the people coming through are the people we want to get to, so that they're developing all this knowledge of how organisations are managed, and they can bring that through as they go, instead of just arriving on the scene and being the last man standing and they get the job, and then, hang on, what do I do? Well, the predecessor did this. Yeah, but he didn't know what he was doing. Thank you, brothers.
Thank you, Jim.